Hello, my name is Jonathan Rydberg, and today, together with my partner Bernardo Santaella, we are going to talk about the compass and the cage, Mexico's strategic dilemma. So let's begin. First of all, today we are asking one key question. Why hasn't Mexico become a true global power, even though it has territory, population, natural resources, and access to two oceans? Our argument is simple. Mexico's is a strategic hinge in North America, but it's trapped inside a geographic and political cage. To explain this, we'll use three classic geopolitical theories: Mackinder's Heartland, Mahan Sea Power, and Spikeman's Rimland, together with two readings, which are Genaro's ideas of Mexico as a pawn with a voice, and Statford's description of Mexico as a mountain fortress. Let's begin. So, the geographical analysis, internal barriers, ports, and checkpoints. According to Statford, Mexico functions like a funnel shaped mountain fortress. The central plateau is protected by the Sierra Madre Occidental and Oriental, while deserts in the north and rugged terrain in the south limit the movement and control. This geography provides security, but it also makes national integration difficult. Stratford also points out that Mexico has a double core: Mexico City as the political center in the highlands, and Veracruz as a key access point to the Gulf. Controlling the interior depends on controlling coastal routes, and Mexico can even be easier to invade from the sea, something that becomes crucial when we think about naval power. So here we have some key points, like I already mentioned, that are the political center in Mexico City, the key maritime access through Veracruz, and control of the interior depends on coastal routes. And as a key phrase, it's the heartland depends on the sea. Now let's continue. So, slide number three. To understand Mexico's position, we need three geopolitical theories, which are: the first, the Mackinder's Heartland theory, argues that global power comes from controlling the central landmass of Eurasia. States with deep land control and interior lines gain strategic advantages over sea powers. This theory favors large continental empires, but it doesn't fully apply to Mexico. Second, we have Mahan's sea power theory that focuses on naval strength, ports, commercial fleets, and protected trade routes. Mahan explains that having access to the ocean is not enough. Sea power requires long term state strategy and investment. And finally, we have the Spikeman's Rimland theory that shifts the focus to coastal and edge zones where land and sea meet. He argues that power is shaped in these hybrid regions, specifically near major powers. And now we're going to talk about which theory explains Mexico best. Well, for Mexico, Spike's Rimland theory fits best. Mexico functions our rimland state within the North American system, located directly next to the world's dominant power. This places Mexico in a buffer zone where external pressures strongly shape its behavior. Mackinder's theory doesn't fully apply, but some internal heartland logic still exists. Stratford's quote mountain fortress shows Mexico has a protected core, just not enough scale to dominate a wider region. Mahan's theory is the most critical. Despite having two oceans, Mexico has not turned maritime access into real global influence. According to Mahan, geography only matters when the state actively converts it into power. Now, it's time for my partner Bernardo to continue with the presentation.
So this slide is the narrative part. Mexico has strong geopolitical credentials, but it often keeps a passive foreign policy posture. Instead of shaping strategy, it focuses on managing problems, like reacting to crises instead of building long-term leverage. And the strongest line here is silence becomes a strategic choice. Mexico sometimes avoids projecting power, avoids defending a clear strategic identity, and that keeps it frozen. So it's not only the geographical limits Mexico, the mindset and posture limits Mexico too. Breaking the cage, turning geography into strategy. So how does Mexico breaks the cage? This slide gives three big moves. First, develop a long-term maritime vision, not just having coasts, but actually using ports, trade routes, and maritime security as tools of power. Second transformation is mountains into logistic corridors. If geography creates barriers, strategy should be build connectors. And internal integration is power. Third, build active regional and diplomatic leadership. Mexico has the weight to lead more in its region, but it needs a consistent voice and long-term goals. And the final line is the theme. Strategy converts limits into leverage. As our final conclusion, geography explains Mexico's limits, but strategy explains Mexico's future. Mexico is a fortress with two seas, that's rare, but geography alone doesn't create global power. Only strategy can turn it into power. And if Mexico builds maritime vision, internal corridors, and a stronger diplomatic voice, it stops being a pawn and starts acting like a country that shapes the map, not just lives on it. Mexico is a fortress with two seas, but only strategy can turn it into power. Thank you.